a service of CNC Worldwide.
CNC podcasts are a service of CNC News, and they're brought to you by the Greece Chamber of Commerce, providing more than 800 member companies with business solutions since 1984. Rochester has set a new record low temperature. The National Weather Service says the thermometer at the Rochester Airport dropped to 4 below zero early Tuesday morning, and that broke the record of -3 from 1919. You can thank clear skies and a fresh snowpack for helping set the record low. And now that you've heard this, I guess you can get post-frostbite or something. A school bus has collided with a car in Orleans County on Tuesday morning. The Orleans County Sheriff's Office says this was at the corner of routes 104 and 237 in Murray. It happened about 7:40 Tuesday morning, and as of this recording, we're still waiting to hear if there were kids on board and exactly what happened. Former Rochester Police Chief Cedric Alexander will not be returning to Rochester unless it's to visit family. Mayor-elect Lovely Warren released a statement Monday night saying Alexander would have been a good choice for the city and the Rochester Police Department. She did talk to him about it, but Rochester could not compete financially with his current employer, DeKalb County, Georgia. Warren says she'll launch a national search now for the new chief, although she has interviewed several candidates. In the interim, Deputy Chief Michael Simonelli serves as acting chief. Warren has also named new members to her City Hall team. Dr. Del Smith will serve as the new Commissioner of Neighborhood and Business Development. Carlos Carballata is retiring. Del Smith is a professor of management at the Saunders College of Business and was the inaugural director of the RIT Center for Urban Entrepreneurship. T. Andrew Brown from the law firm of Brown & Hutchinson is Corporation Counsel, the city's chief lawyer. And Mitch Rowe is coming back to City Hall as Director of Planning and Zoning. He started with the city in the 80s. Currently, he's County Manager of Seneca County. Another top Rochester Fire Department official is on the way out, along with the City Hall transition. Former Democratic Party Chair Molly Clifford is leaving as the city's Director of Fire Administration, and she's taking a job as Executive Director of Community Health Strategies. That's a local company that focuses on injury prevention and public health issues. Clifford was head of the city net offices, and she moved to the civil side of the fire department in 2010. Also, the vacant seat left when Lovely Warren was elected mayor is now filled, and there's a vacancy on the Monroe County Legislature instead. Acting Council President Dana Miller has named legislator Michael Patterson to the Northeast District seat. Patterson serves through 2014, and then a special election has to be held in November to fill the rest of the unexpired term. The Republican-controlled Agenda Charter Committee of the Monroe County Legislature threw out a Democratic plan for a bipartisan investigation of the County Local Development Corporation mess on Monday evening. County Executive Maggie Brooks hired former State Attorney General Dennis Vacco to investigate after state and federal authorities began looking at diversion of taxpayer money from some of the LDC contracts. But Democrats say that put the Republican county executive in the position of investigating herself. They say that's an ethical problem. Republicans, including Majority Leader Steve Tucciarello, say having the legislature run its own investigation would be one too many, and it could interfere with the state and federal probes. Reporters pressed Governor Cuomo and his health commissioner Nirav Shah for some insight Monday on when the state will finally issue a ruling on the safety of hydrofracking for natural gas in New York, but they didn't get a definitive answer from the health commissioner, who said the science is still being done.
Science needs to be done in a sacred place where we can, with objectivity, understand both sides of the issue, understand the science, dissect it, and then at the end come with a reasoned conclusion. So the process needs to be transparent at the end, not during.
And when can we expect that end? When can the public expect to see some of your work?
When I'm done.
And Governor Cuomo says allowing hydraulic fracturing in New York is a major decision. He says he'd rather have it right than on a timetable. Asked by reporters, Cuomo says he does expect a decision will be made before he runs for re-election next fall, but he says that will be up to the health department. A man had to jump for it when his car got stuck on the CSX railroad tracks in Gates Monday night. Gates police say the driver got out of the car before it was smashed by a freight train. They say he slid off Coldwater Road at the crossing and got stuck on the tracks. A passing train demolished the empty car soon after he got out. There was no damage to the locomotives. No charges will be filed against an Ontario County man in the death of a woman who was hit by a car on a Canandaigua street. The Ontario County Sheriff's Office says Marianne Tedonio was looking down at her phone when she walked off the curb and directly in front of Edwin Nemitz Jr.'s car. Neither person had been drinking or using drugs. The driver wasn't speeding. The investigation puts the cause as distraction on the pedestrian's part. Monroe County Grand Jury has indicted 18-year-old Dante Rankin of Rochester on second-degree murder charges for shooting another 18-year-old to death at the corner of Genesee and Hawley Streets. Kamari Hodricks was shot as part of what police describe as an ongoing feud between those two teenagers. The Chili man has been sentenced on child exploitation charges in federal court in Rochester. The U.S. Attorney's Office says Michael Covello will serve 15 years in prison, followed by another 15 of supervised release. He was convicted of using computer file-sharing networks to distribute child porn. Finally, a 19-year-old Rochester woman is in jail, charged by Rochester's arson task force with setting a fire after a domestic dispute. Lexis Coley is charged with arson and petty larceny for setting the fire last week at 43 Bartlett Street. Fire and police companies responded to a fire outside the building on December 11th. They found a flammable liquid had been poured over some personal property outside the building and set on fire. The fire didn't spread and no injuries were reported. The next news podcast is whenever you click on one of our CNC news pages and hear it, and the updates are as necessary. I'm Bud Lowell, CNC News.